Inside the shadow of Geneva, underneath the Earth's floor, lies a shock of human ingenuity and an expected harbinger of obliteration: the Monster Hadron Collider. It is a manual of intelligent assessment, allowing researchers to analyze the subatomic overall and inciting the revelation of the mysterious of God molecule. A hewlett back at this point, as of now renowned physicist Brian Cox has, as of past due, made a chilling announcement that sent wonder waves at some stage in theological neighborhood region. Something focusing has been investigated at CERN, something that could have achieved extended ways beyond our understanding. Has our primary objective for enlightening informational collection us on an effect course with calamity obliging us as we dive into the pit of this lucid conundrum, but sooner than we bob into the statement information. What sizable molecule gas pedals the huge Hadron Collider LHC, worked by using CERN, is a 17M ring of superconduct magnets and the field's most noteworthy and generally outrageous strong molecule smasher. It keeps an eye on the pinnacle of human reasonable accomplishment. The reality of the situation is strong to the point that it can rehash the actual states of the universe's creation to the world. Yet should this structure be planned to open the insider estimations of the universe, stay aware of the way to something clearly more noticeable troubling. CERN, laid out in 1954, is one of the world's most noteworthy renowned evaluation relationships, show with 23 segment states and a tremendous wide grouping of experts. It is a middle center for joint effort and improvement. The LHC is CERN's central undertaking. However, it's only one part of an enormous association of fuel pedals and spike expect obviously, however not really for motors or ponies. This tune is for subatomic particles, and it's a race towards presence itself. The LHC speeds up protons to basically the speed of light, sending them on a miscap course that mirrors the energy of the universe at the hour of the epic blast. The impacts make temperatures 1 million times extra hot than the focal point of the sun. An enormous wide variety of magnets manual the protons on their visit, while dazzling cooling frameworks shield the magnets at temperatures chillier than space. These contain 1232 dipole magnets which win the shafts and 392 quad-pole magnets which obsession the bars. Only sooner than influence, one more conspicuous kind of magnet is utilized to press the particles close aggregately to expand the possibilities of effects. The errand of CERN is to influence like finishing two needles 6 mil confined with such precision that they meet. The precision required is astounding. The advancement unmatched. The LHC's plan is a shock of arranging. It solidifies too close by same support point lines that misrepresentation stowed away 574 toes on a more profound level preserved from the field's radiation on this underground overall. The entire edge framework is cooled to a temperature of 456 F, chillier than the vacuum of space itself. This cool climate is essential for the superconducting magnets to ideally work. The support focuses in the LHC are made to crash at 4 districts across the gas pedal ring, appearing differently in relation to the areas of 4 molecule markers: Chartbook, CMS, ALICE, and LHCb. Each fills an uncommon need in investigating unique bits of part-article material science. Aggregately, they pass comparatively epic cameras getting depictions of those impacts. Experts then clear out through the junk, glancing through indications of the subtle Higgs boson, in any case suggested as the God molecule, an extraordinary whimsy sign to the universe's fundamental plan. It's like checking an inestimable jigsaw puzzle, one in which the parts are obscure and the image is problematic to grasp. By zeroing in on the microcosm, we gain bits of expertise into the universe. However, with every response comes another solicitation, and with each revelation another check. The LHC isn't truly a canny instrument. It is an indication of human recreation movement and movement. It epitomizes our picked venture for information and our yearning to sort out the fundamental forces that structure our universe. However, as we push the limits of what we understand, we ought to in addition remember the moral and existential solicitations that emerge. What are the dangers of examining the disregarded world should our undertaking for dominance unexpectedly open powers? We have zero power over control inside the sanctified corridors of CERN, in which the CFF points of human understanding are constantly pushed. A revelation has arisen that sends a scream down the spine of even the most coordinated SE researchers. Brian Cox, a previous scientist at CERN and a voice of expert in the space of molecule actual science, has as of past due made a declaration that has left the region each captivated and shocking. Cox's expressions reverb with a horrible conceivability. The target of CERN's Colossal Hadron Collider is to reproduce a little immense impact. Without a doubt, you heard that right, a more modest than expected kind of the very event that introduced forward our universe. The physicist similarly wound up causing to feel of the results of this goal, offering the LHC extraordinary capacity for making new openings. This integrates its limit to open the insider facts of the Higgs boson. Furthermore, the assessment of darkish-rea substance that makes up a central piece of the universe. Consider safeguarding the kind of appearance for your float close to the ability to call the certifiable substance of the universe. It is an enticing open door, nevertheless one loaded with danger. The more unobtrusive than anticipated enormous bang isn't without a question a theoretical thought. It is an incredible truth. Inside the LHC, the temperatures, the tensions, the rough energy all copy the states of the universe's underlying arrives at. It is like keep going on the earliest significant length of recorded history, seeing the approaching of presence itself. However, with such strength comes genuine commitment, and the solicitation addresses the limit risk. Consider what is happening where something turns out gravely. Something became out genuinely really back in 1978. The Russian physicist Anatoly Borsky encountered a disaster that could typically redirect his methodologies of life. In 1978, Borsky became chipping away at the US synchrotron on the affiliation for high-power actual science in Master Russia. A breakdown incited his head by the way entering the occasion strategy for a proton shaft. The support point with the power that conflicts with data went through his skull, entering the rear of his head and leaving through his nose. Borsky's appreci changed into remarkable. He seen a streak more noticeable striking than 1,000 youngsters, yet he had no issues. The marks of Helpway left a method of decimation ingesting tissue and bone, yet he stayed keen and for sure even strolled around the center for treatment. The outcome changed into each sickening and enchanting. The support focuses way set off confined tissue passing, inciting the shortfall of paying consideration regarding in one ear and halfway facial shortfall of development. However, unquestionably Borsky's scholastic potential stayed in salvageable shape, and he gone on with his authentic business. This event isn't surely a man or woman setback, yet a defense story that highlights the enormous energy and probable hazard of particle gas pedals. The risks of a particle gas pedal like the LHC are not to be played with the limit for surprising responses, the authentic surface of truth being controlled. These are not the stuff of sci-fi but rather certified pressure, voiced by including a couple in the educational nearby region. The universe's privileged insights are fundamental toys as well as units of basic energy, quite possibly of the best horrible and pleasing anxieties associated with the HC's tests is the plausibility of making a more modest than expected dim void. Faint openings are neighborhood individuals of spacetime in which gravity is steady, such a lot of that not really even light can waste time close their endless vacuum cleaners, the devourers of stars. The mysterious parts that cover in the shadows of our universe that the LHC could make this of substance. Even on a bit expansion, it is a choice for the norm egalitarians and experts the comparable. Should this dull opening develop fiercely, gulping the Earth from inside, anyway, experts at CERN have guaranteed that any dull void made would be all and vanish very quickly. The far-off bet has lit discussions, fears, and a vibe of wonderful at the power we enlist. Grasping how the LHC is fundamental should make a dim opening. It needs to do with the essential mechanics of particle fuel pedals. While protons are crushed on the opening at, for all intents and purposes, the speed of light, the power BR is shocking to the variable that it turns the outer layer of spacetime itself. Think about a trampoline extended tight and afterward a colossally dropped weight onto it. The surface turns and it is significant to accept the store satisfactory. It could make a loathsomeness so huge that anything nearby would be added into it. That is a senseless depiction for what could have to arise in the LHC in the space of quantum genuine science in which the ideas of the universe are both odd and incredible. There exists a hypothesis that more critical elements are probably hidden away inside our reality. Assuming these parts exist, the LHC's influences could have to make use of them, making a gravitational line that systems somewhat dull opening. This disappointing dance of flume and some has indeed even gotten the notification of some incredibly famous experts, unequivocally the late even peddling in his book. He cautioned of a circumstance wherein the Higgs boson should wind up being conflicting at extremely unreasonable energy levels. This dubiousness most likely should cause an overpowering vacuum or a grandiose occasion that wouldn't just crush the Earth, yet the whole universe itself. The SED English Cosmology O and astrophysicist Sir Martin Ree granted his own side interests generally the examinations driven at CERN in his computerized book on what's to return. Open entryways for mankind, he analyzed the potential risks related to atom smasher evaluations, which consolidate those at CERN. His words were not just safety measure. They have been reached with a vibe of existential pressure. He referred to the most desperate result possible where a miserable assessment should make a circumstance known as vacuum flimsiness. This shakiness should in a hypothesis trigger a degree progress that would resonate through the genuine surface of spacetime. The possible results: a huge fiasco that would delta the complete universe. His tendencies were not restricted to speculative encounters. He committed an opportunity to those amazing effects, anyway a low one. In any event, a small likelihood, he struggled, should provide us likelihood to opportunity to stop and think and anticipate. The stakes are incomprehensibly high and the edge for bungle is razor slim. The experts at CERN have decided the potential dangers connected with their tests cautiously. They have done different security protocols and prudent measures to mate any possible bets. Anyway, the possibility of intelligent examination inherently incorporates some degree of vulnerability, especially while plunging into new regions. The journey for data has perpetually been joined with a degree of chance taking over the whole process of everything working out. Consistent jump advances have habitually went with unexpected results. Anyway, it is unequivocally this capacity to stretch boundaries that has impelled mankind forward. The LHC addresses the flawlessness of many long periods of sensible advancement and epitomizes mankind's ravenous interest in the universe. However, the expected risks, pagan against by tests at the LHC, can't be neglected. While the likelihood of horrible events may be low, the results could be critical. Therefore, it is central for specialists, policymakers, and the overall public to partake in open trade about the moral and prosperity repercussions of such investigation. Taking everything into account, the Hadron Collider at CERN is a miracle of human genius and intelligent achievement. It offers phenomenal pieces of information into the fundamental nature of the universe. However, with inconceivable power comes amazing commitment, and it is crucial to push toward this pivotal assessment with exhaustion impression. As we keep on opening the privileged insights of the universe, we should stay careful and mindful of the potential risks inferred, ensuring that our mission for data doesn't come to the impairment of our security and success. The Hadron Collider at CERN stays as an affirmation not entirely set in stone mission for data and appreciation of the universe. Its tremendous size and complexity represent pennies of sensible progress and joint exertion among nations. However, under its stirring facade lies a space of huge sensible demand loaded with anticipated possibilities and moral considerations. The Collider's fundamental target of loosening up the privileged insights of molecule material science has provoked notable exposure, including the tricky Higgs boson. However, the uncommon energies made inside its entries furthermore raise stresses about the possibly adverse outcomes of such an attempt. While wide prosperity measures are set up to moderate risks, the possibility of destroying events like the creation of small-scale dim openings or other unforeseen eccentricities can't be through and through pardoned. Accordingly, as specialists push the restrictions of our comprehension, it is basic that they do as such with a significant familiarity with specific assumptions and straightforwardness, participating in open trade with people in general and policy as we dig further into the complexities of the Hadron Collider at CERN and the logical undertakings it addresses. It turns out to be progressively clear that the quest for information isn't without its dangers and vulnerabilities. The Hadron Collider, with its uncommon abilities and potential for earth-shattering revelations, remains as a demonstration of human resourcefulness and the constant journey for understanding the cruel laws of the universe. However, underneath its dazzling exterior lies a domain of significant logical request loaded with likely risks and moral contemplations. The analyses directed inside the limits of the Collider gigantic foundation harness energies and forces that are beyond perception for most lay people. The impact of subatomic particles at nearly speeds produces conditions associated to those that existed in the earliest snapshots of the universe, permitting researchers to test the principal building block of issue and investigate the actual texture of spacetime itself. Yet the gigantic energies associated with these impacts likewise present huge dangers, both known and obscure. Quite possibly the most squeezing concerns encompassing the activity of the RON collider is the expected making of minute dark openings or other intriguing peculiarities that could have unanticipated results. While that's what hypothetical computations suggest, any such dark openings would be brief and represent no danger to Earth or, on the other hand, its occupants. The possibility of incidentally releasing powers past our control is regardless unsettling. In addition, the sheer scale and intricacy of the investigations led at the collider require careful security conventions and rigid oversight to mitigate any potential dangers. The worldwide people group of researchers, also scientists engaged with the activity of the collider, is intensely mindful of the need to focus on well-being. What's more, guarantee that all analyses are led with the greatest possible level of wearing and obligation.